Wednesdays 8:30 on Turbo.
Welcome. You all are about to participate in the toughest challenge.
I'm going to be using bacon, chocolate, rosemary.
Uh-oh, secret stuff.
You know what they say about best laid plans? They don't work out.
What's the worst thing that could happen? There's no alcohol in here.
Mother of pearl. There can only be one master distiller.
If you don't like it, there's something wrong with you.
Master Distiller, Mondays 9:30 on Discovery.
Digicel TV, home of Rugby League. Dial *515# to subscribe.
The TVWAN News is proudly brought to you by
BSP, our bank, our people.
Hello and welcome to TV1 News. I'm Carol Kiru Jr. In this edition, KPHL increases stake, Wagambi testifies, and Martin back for Kumuz. Kumul Petroleum Holdings Limited, or KPHL, has solidified its investment in Papua New Guinea's energy sector by increasing its stake in the PNG LNG project and securing a forward sale agreement with Chevron, setting the stage for enhanced returns and future expansion. Kumul Petroleum Holdings Limited has finalized its acquisition of an additional 2.6% equity in the PNG LNG project from Santos Limited, boosting its total stake to 19.2%. This expansion, achieved ahead of schedule, represents a strategic move by KPHL to strengthen its role in Papua New Guinea's energy sector. KPHL Managing Director Wapu Song said a partial payment of 352 million kina, approximately 1.31 billion kina, was made earlier this year, with the remaining balance due by December. He said completing this share acquisition ahead of schedule benefits both the company and the region, and added that the increased share will deliver higher returns immediately, as the project will be fully depreciated by the end of 2024 and project finance repaid by 2026. In addition, KPHL recently closed a forward sale agreement with Chevron USA Inc., Singapore branch, under which Chevron will make an advance payment in exchange for LNG and condensate cargoes over the next 2 years. This term sale, secured through an extensive bid process, provides further financial security as KPHL continues to increase its presence in the PNG LNG project. The recent expansion allows KPHL to support more nation-building projects and positions the company for its 22.5% equity mandate in the upcoming Papua LNG project, expected to reach a final investment decision in 2025. Song expressed appreciation for Chevron's role in the agreement, calling it an advancement for PNG's hydrocarbon sector with potential for carbon offset initiatives. The completion of the equity purchase and forward sale agreement highlights KPHL's dedication to maximizing value from PNG's natural resources for the benefit of its people. Meantime, Hela Governor Philip Wondialu has urged Prime Minister James Marape and Kumul Petroleum Holdings Limited to release the 4.27% Croton equity owed to provincial governments and landowners. This demand follows KPHL's recent acquisition of a 2.6% stake in the PNG LNG project from Santos for $602 million, approximately 2.14 billion kina. Wondialu questioned the transparency of the deal, stating that KPHL used 1.29 billion kina in revenue to facilitate the purchase. He criticized Santos for charging excessive prices. He noted that the valuation of PNG LNG interests declined over the past decade, asserting that Santos should offer a fairer deal. For 2 weeks, 25 participants from diverse educational backgrounds planned and mapped out how best they can integrate and align financial dedication to the mainstream curriculum of grade 2 to grade 6. This financial education content alignment and development workshop concluded recently and was funded by the Center for Excellence in Financial Inclusion and facilitated in collaboration with the Department of Education Curriculum Development Division.
25 participants, including primary school teachers, DOE CCD curriculum officers, and CEFI staff, attended the workshop. Their combined expertise will help ensure that developed materials are both comprehensive and applicable in real classroom settings, a crucial step in integrating financial education into the national curriculum. This workshop facilitated an opportunity for the participants to engage in content writing and discussions to create high-quality educational resources that cover important financial topics like savings, budgeting, banking services, debt management, and investments and insurance. These resources aim to promote informed decision-making and improve students' financial awareness from an early age.
In the books, which are the 7 activity resource books, as well as the resource books, as well as the activity books for the preparatory to the grade 6. This is a very important endeavor because this is the foundation for the future, and to empower the people, basically empower the student to make informed decisions in all their economic activities.
This workshop marked a significant step in embedding financial education into the education system, with the ultimate goal of preparing Papua New Guinea students to become financially responsible adults.
This development of the 21 books is now charting a way forward to have our students being literate in how they will use and spend their money. Though our curriculum is overcrowded, meaning we just have so many subjects that are being offered to the school or to our children, but in the midst of teaching and learning, we will have to find time and have this being taught in the schools.
The workshop is a strategic move to realize the critical changes that must take place to ensure countrywide change.
It's not too late to change this course, and I think it is what we have done here, that is the way to go. We have to change with our future generation. We have to change with our children, and that is why this the syllabus, the resource activities for students and the teachers that have been developed for the last 2 weeks is very, very important.
The 2-week workshop concluded on Friday, 1st November.
The National Capital District Provincial Health Authority, or NCDPHA, in October received 2 ultrasound machines from Project Yumi Inc. These machines, after undergoing functional testing and cleaning, will be installed in the obstetrics and gynecology and radiology departments to enhance diagnostic services at the Gero Hospital. Acting CEO of NCD-PHA, Dr. Robin Oge, says they are grateful to Project Yumi for this invaluable donation. The ultrasound machines will be instrumental in providing essential diagnostic services to the people of NCD, including prenatal examinations for expectant mothers, detection of internal organ abnormalities, and medical procedure guidance. Dr. Oge emphasized that access to reliable diagnostic equipment is crucial, and the contribution from Project Yumi through their partnership with Queensland X-Ray strengthens their capacity to serve the community. The Assistant Commissioner of Police, Anthony Wagambi Jr., said he had done everything to restore normalcy during the January 10th civil unrest, but the situation escalated to a point where it went out of hand. Wagambi Jr. made this statement when testifying on his second hand at the Commission of Inquiry into the RPNGC January 10th civil unrest at the APEC House in Port Moresby. When continuing to testify at the COI into the January 10th civil unrest at the APEC House in Port Moresby, the Assistant Commissioner of Police, Anthony Wagambi Jr., said he had done everything to restore command and control, but the situation went out of hand.
After we arrived, the Police Association president also arrived, and I confronted the members and I asked them to calm down, and I told them that it is an industrial issue. The executive does not know about it. They've not been made of any reasons of the pay cut, and we don't have any answers for them. So since the Police Association president is there, then they can give their grievances to him, and as the mouthpiece for the members representing us through the union, he can bring this to the government and for the government to address. And I also reminded them that we are policemen and women, and our priority is to ensure that there's safety in the community. And the longer we remain there, we will allow for opportunities to take advantage and do something nasty in the community.
Wagambi said should the protest be held at the Boroko police station or another station, it would have been easier to manage the situation. Because it was held in a public place, they were unable to manage the situation.
The presence of myself and Metsu brought some little bit of order back in. But there were still elements there because this gathering was held in a public place. If it was held within a confined area in a police barracks, then we would be able to contain it. But it was held in a public area at Unagi Oval, so it attracted people from different, all walks of life. We had street sellers, we had members of the public, other public servants, members of the PNGDF, of the CS, they were also present there.
Wagambi added that the looting that had occurred while the protest was ongoing happened simultaneously. He managed to get held by officers on the ground, but they were outnumbered. In his response, COI Commissioner Elenas Vatari said the protest held by the police officers was illegal, and upon hearing from Wagambi's testimony, there is a possibility of seeing that the unrest was planned, meaning there are people behind it. Wagambi then confirmed that and told the inquiry that when he was issued a 21-day suspension after the riot, he had made recommendations for the police management to conduct a thorough investigation to find out about the root cause.
If we can have the
This is TV1 News. We'll have the day's other stories when we come back. Stay with us.
Experience a convenient and smarter way to do your banking with BSB Mobile Banking. You don't have to leave the office or your home to pay for bills. You can view your account balance, transfer funds, top up phone credits, or purchase Easy Pay units wherever you are. Visit your BSB branch today to register now for BSB Mobile Banking. BSB Mobile Banking, the smarter way to bank. BSP, our bank, our people.
He says the best Hunters players come from his region. So does she. But there's one thing that brings everyone together. SP Lager, Bunyamyumi.
Open lens.
Hiya, Mama. You wait then, but me add him special flavor.
Put in more flavor, put in more taste. Magical cuddle, get up a big smile on face. Time for kim chicken, a great fumu too. Sip, sip, the moo, yes, magic on you.
Maggi, the taste PNG loves.
Right across the nation, we eat snacks crackers. Emi trubla. All get a young planalapun, only like him snacks crackers. Only make him here, no PNG, one time lay biscuit company. It's crunchy and tasty. It's irresistible.
Welcome back. SEFI Deputy Director Peter Samuel says financial education is not just about teaching children how to count coins or develop a budget or savings plan. It is about empowering them to be responsible, informed, and proactive in their financial lives. Petroleum Resources Kutubu, or PRK, has donated 20 mattresses and 20 fans to Kerma General Hospital to enhance patient well-being. Reginald Ope, Mineral Resources Development Company General Manager of Asset and Infrastructure, delivered the items during a recent community engagement visit to Kerma Town. Dr. Michael Lalam, acting caretaker of Curative Health Services at Kerma General Hospital, officially received the donation. Dr. Lalam expressed his gratitude, stating he is committed to creating a healing environment that supports the well-being of patients, and these contributions will greatly assist in achieving that goal. PRK beneficiaries include the Southern Highlands and Gulf provincial governments and landowners in the Southern Highlands and Kikori pipeline areas. PRK, as a subsidiary of MRDC, has been involved in various projects aimed at enhancing community quality of life, including building health facilities, providing medical equipment, and supporting health programs. 24 officers from the Department for Community Development received certificates in reserve policing on Friday, 1st of November 2024, after completing 8 weeks of training under the reserve policing at the National Center for Excellence at Bomana.
A joint policing training was conducted through a partnership between the Department of Community Development and Religion, the Department of Justice and Attorney General, the National Censorship Board, and the Royal PNG Constabulary. Secretary for the Department of Community Development and Religion, Jerry Ubase, explained that the initiative to establish reserve policing came about after the establishment of the National GBV Secretariat under the department.
Underneath law, Department of Community Development and Religion, we saw that there's a need for the department to partner with the Royal Papua New Guinea Constabulary through the community policing. Lo halbim lo all members blaming lo policing, especially in the community areas, now settlements, where we saw that the violence against women and girls is prevalent. So given that undertaking, we come up with a group of officers, notably Mr. Pingwa seated here, and we decided to come up with an initiative to write to the commissioner requesting so that we become a reservist to help our counterparts, our regulars to police, community policing in the community. And through God's grace, I'm commissioner and give him this approval.
Director for Community Policing of the RPNGC, Chief Superintendent Cyprian Papota, explained that the RPNGC has revised the policy of training on the selection and recruitment of police reservists and put in place a MOU template.
I just basically touch base on those issues highlighted in the MOU. Recruitment, selection, training, and we all know, under the policy it has changed that all the lines are like joining reserve. They have to be trained to that's all. And for the case of stakeholders and corporate organizations, they must be permanent employees of the organization. They must be senior public servants. Or for the case of those private sectors, they have to be permanent and they have to be senior officers within the corporate organizations. Okay, training requirements for a period of 6 months, but it has been amended to 10 weeks now. 10 weeks now. So the next training that we are going to conduct will be 10 weeks. It's no longer 6 weeks like we have done for our the reservists currently here today.
The certificate recipients were also given ranks according to the RPNGC reservist policing standards during the ceremony. Salome Vincent, TVWAN News.
Kamiale Wildlife Management Area in Lababia Village in Salamau, Huon Gulf District, Morobe Province, have taken steps towards strengthening their conservation efforts with the appointment of new committee members. The WMA consists of both marine and terrestrial, covering almost 50,000 hectares of land and coastline. One of their important activities is the monitoring of the Pacific leatherback turtles that come up to nest between October and April along a 5-kilometer stretch of their coastline marked for conservation. With support from the Biodiversity and Climate Fund through the UNDP GEF 6 Sustainable Financing of PNG Protected Areas Network project, 3 protected area officers from the National Government's Conservation and Environment Protection Authority were at Lababia to provide guidance to the new committee members on the gazettal process and to develop their bylaws under SEPA's Protected Areas Management Guidelines. The 21st National Kenu and Kundu Festival, or NKKF, in Alotau was a triumphant cultural celebration that created opportunities for Milne Bay's tourism and cultural landscape. Tourism, Arts and Culture Minister Belden Nama made key announcements at the closing ceremony on November 3rd, unveiling 4 new projects: the Miss Bird of Paradise pageant, selection of Milne Bay dance groups for the 2025 South Pacific Festival of Arts in Fiji, establishment of provincial tourism centers, and the promotion of the Sailau documentary film. The Miss Bird of Paradise pageant, distinct from the Miss PNG pageant, invites young women from all 22 provinces to compete, showcasing PNG's cultural diversity. Fusion Milne Bay was named as the local coordinator. Nama selected 4 traditional dance groups from Milne Bay: Watawa, Oyuveyova, Waipalala, and Kaikuwali and Diligwegwena, to represent PNG in Fiji, emphasizing the value of authenticity and artistic integrity in cultural performances. Nama announced plans to open tourism centers in Milne Bay, New Island, and Sundown provinces. These centers will provide cultural hubs where tourists can buy souvenirs, learn about local traditions, and experience PNG's heritage. He encouraged Milne Bay leaders to allocate land for a new tourism center to enhance the province's appeal to visitors. honoring the Silo documentary, which captures a 13-month expedition using traditional seafaring techniques to circumnavigate New Guinea. Nama praised the film's creators and promised to promote it internationally. The expedition underscores Milne Bay's maritime heritage and inspired the establishment of a canoe-building school to pass down seafaring knowledge. NKKF Chairman Habona Tasman thanked Minister Nama and participants for their support, celebrating a record turnout and a vibrant display of traditional Milne Bay canoes, dances and music, marking this year's NKKF as one of the most memorable in recent history. Carol Kidu Jr., TV1 News. And now to the finance news. The Kina closed lower at 0.2531 US dollars in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, our Kina was buying 0.2456 US dollars, 0.3702 Australian dollars, 0.2182 euro, and 37.05 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, coffee, cocoa, and crude oil closed higher. Gold, copra, and palm oil closed lower, while copper closed the day unchanged. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed lower, ASX closed lower, and all ordinaries closed lower as well. You're watching TV1 News. Stay tuned. We'll have news making headlines overseas when we come back.
Experience a convenient and smarter way to do your banking with BSB Mobile Banking. You don't have to leave the office or your home to pay for bills. You can view your account balance, transfer funds, top up phone credits, or purchase Easy Pay units wherever you are. Visit your BSB branch today to register now for BSB Mobile Banking. BSB Mobile Banking, the smarter way to bank. BSB, our bank, our people.
A true champion is measured by their courage, their determination, and their passion to never give up and to always keep trying. With a delicious Milo in milk taste and added nutrients, Milo in milk is a great way to fuel our little champions with nourishing energy every day. Because true champions give it their all.
Milo, PNG and Mia. Find PNG made.
Enjoy life when we work together, making happy memories that last forever. Hot in talk, young or old, a scale race, family meal with home. We'll bring out the smiles, cause it's our favorite for minds. Tennessee cola, scale rice on scale price. Tennessee cola, scale rice on scale price. Amber, you like it?
Bro, it's awesome, man. Pepsi promotion.
I'm so excited.
Let's go, let's go. Amber, Pepsi for match.
Pepsi for match.
And how do you win this? 2 plus Pepsi, that's all. 2 cans, bro.
2 plus, that's all.
You get yourself a chance to win
This box of match.
It's crazy cool. My God. A pair of headphones. It's a towel.
How about that? Cooler box.
Yeah!
Rugby League is a powerful force that unites Papua New Guinea and develops our youth. Through partnerships with the PNG LNG Kumals, Grassroots Rugby League and Justin Olam, we aim to instill skills to last a lifetime.
I'm community blue. When it's on you welcome, I'm come up community. You must also community.
When we invest in people, we invest in tomorrow's possibilities.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. A highly protected island off central Queensland is known for some of the best coral cover on the Great Barrier Reef. But almost a year on from a mass coral bleaching event, a team of researchers is assessing its recovery with mixed results.
These researchers are getting ready to dive into the pristine waters on the southern Great Barrier Reef. But they're worried about the extent of coral bleaching they'll see.
This is my third time here over the course of this event this year, so
hate to say we're getting numb to it, but we kind of expected it, probably more than when we first came.
One Tree Island is a remote research station 100 kilometres off the central Queensland coast. Warmer than average ocean temperatures last summer caused widespread damage. It's estimated more than 50% of the coral has died here.
It was pretty, I guess, shocking to go back out there and see the amount of coral death that we've had.
We've only done 2 dives, but I'm sure we're going to see more of the same, just a lot of mortality.
But there have been some small areas of recovery.
One big moment was a Porites bombing that's just right off the station here. It's a really big, beautiful type of coral that it's huge. It's full of fish. And when we went to that site, I was so nervous because I'm like, oh, please let that thing be okay. And it was actually.
The team is making 3D maps of this part of the reef to monitor its health.
And we can track the colonies through time and actually see all those colonies, what was their fate through this bleaching event.
This tiny island is one of only 2 parts of the Great Barrier Reef which is an orange zone, meaning it can only be accessed for education and research purposes and is a no-go zone for tourists.
You're so far out from everything, which is what makes it so special.
Labour's pitch to wipe $16 billion of student loan debt hit stiff opposition in Parliament today, with the coalition describing it as a terrible and irresponsible plan. But as the federal government insisted, it will ease cost of living pressures for millions of young people. The issue of Qantas upgrades reared its head again.
A study in selfie skills. The Prime Minister positioning for a poll date, still not in focus.
I hope I got it.
Anthony Albanese at Parliament with TAFE and university students on the back of a higher education pre-election pitch, which includes wiping 20% of student loan debt. Hugely significant for some.
$11,400.
Oh, you've already done the calculation.
Others less enthused.
It's unfair. You could have used that money much better.
With the coalition arguing that at a cost of $16 billion, it's bad policy.
This is a terrible economic decision, incredibly irresponsible, that essentially transfers student debt to other taxpayers.
We make no apology for doing everything we can to relieve that financial pressure.
3, 2, 1.
From higher education benefits to flight benefits. The Prime Minister struggling to shake attention over flight upgrades and his relationship with former Qantas CEO Alan Joyce. He flatly denies asking for any upgrades and says he's not aware of his staff asking for any on his behalf either.
Not to my knowledge, no.
Not to your knowledge, again, that's...
These upgrades, you're talking about a 30-year period.
Some independents announcing they've relinquished their memberships to the exclusive Qantas Chairman's Lounge.
There is a deep suspicion that if politicians are getting secret freebies, that it might influence their decisions.
Transparency was a key feature of the last election, and in the lead up to this one, some politicians are sniffing the wind, noting the public distaste for political perks and quickly moving to create distance. But opposition leader Peter Dutton's pursuit of the matter has gone cold. After last week suggesting the Prime Minister should be referred to the corruption watchdog, today, not a single question on the issue from the opposition benches.
Unions Tasmania has described the state government's plan to reform government business enterprises as a blueprint for privatisation. Yesterday's announcement of a review has headlined by a proposal to merge TT Line, Tas Ports and Tas Rail. But the government plans to assess whether other government businesses should remain publicly owned. That's ringing alarm bells.
Rockcliffe's previously been a sceptic of selling state-owned companies.
If we let Tote go at a bargain basement price, Tasmanian taxpayers will be ripped off.
Now it seems the sale of some of the state's GBEs, with a few exceptions, is on the table.
We will have a look at what opportunities there may be, but again, let's not give any credibility to a scare campaign.
While Mr Abetz has dismissed concerns about privatisation as a hypothetical, the government's GBE review and reform agenda includes an assessment of whether public ownership of each business remains appropriate.
I think the government has an idea of which businesses it is considering privatising, and I think it is disingenuous to open up a process like this and release a paper like this without naming them up.
We're not going to allow ourselves to be diverted with a side issue in relation to privatisation.
There is some consensus that the broader review is desperately needed in the wake of the Spirit of Tasmania fiasco and other issues.
And we've experienced increased time and costs associated with development here in Tasmania, and part of that relates to some of the services that are provided through GBEs.
It is not an acceptable solution to say, well, we've stuffed it up, so we're going to flog it off to the highest bidder, presumably, and therefore have no accountability.
The privatisation conversation has quickly gathered pace in recent months. Former Deputy Premier Michael Ferguson was asked at a budget breakfast in September if he'd consider selling state assets, given Tasmania's ballooning debt.
We'll take advice on any opportunities where an asset might be better not in state hands.
Before revealing plans to sell part of the public trustee.
Privatising something is a quick sugar hit. It helps your budget bottom line and maybe your political circumstances in the near term, and in the long term the rest of us pay.
A sugar hit that might be too appetising to resist.
The Bureau of Meteorology has issued a warning for the southern and western interior of the state, with the heat likely to move east to the coast later in the week.
As temperatures soar into the 40s, a dip in the creek is sweet relief.
Hot, dusty, windy.
The conditions prompted the Weather Bureau to issue a severe heatwave warning for much of the far west and southern interior.
Parts of the southwest, and particularly across inland southern Queensland, maybe as much as 10 or even 11 degrees above average.
Heat isn't unusual for the outback, but it's an early taste of what's to come, just weeks out from the start of summer.
What heatwave? This is normal for this time of the year. I've lived here for 25 years.
Bloody hot, and going to get hotter.
Work on the land can't stop, and the gusty winds point to an extreme fire danger.
Everyone sort of expects it to get hot now this time of the year anyway, so I think everyone's pretty prepared for it.
Cattle is still being mustered during 45-degree heat in Birdsville.
I've got a neck scarf on today, and we've got these things called bush mitts. They're like gloves that are 50 plus. Because the sun is so harsh out here, you don't realise, and you can come home from a day of work and just be absolutely cooked.
The heat is expected to peak in the west midweek before moving east towards the coast. For some areas, it's likely to be the hottest November since 2020.
We don't mind the heat out here at all.
As long as you can stay out of the sun.
And that ends the news segment. Join me after the break for your news in sports.
In its first 10 years, the PNG LNG project has had a long-lasting impact, contributing more than 26 billion kina to the state of Papua New Guinea. Equity distributions are paid to KPHL and MRDC based on the interest they hold. Tax is paid to the IRC, while development levy and royalties are paid to DPE. For more information on direct and indirect benefits, visit PNG EITI's website.
We're ready, we're
Digicel Business. We help grow your business with secure, reliable and cost-effective ICT solutions. We will manage your technology so you can power your vision for your business with the best solutions to offer. Accelerate your business growth with Digicel Business Cloud Solutions with cloud platform services, disaster recovery as a service and backup as a service. Talk to our cloud solutions experts today. Digicel Business. Better solutions for better business.
Promise me you'll find your way home. Promise. Protect the green place.
It's time to take back what's rightfully ours.
If you find him, he's mine.
I'm Furiosa!
Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. Premieres Saturday, November 16th, 9 p.m. on HBO.
Welcome back. In sports, it was a tough match for PNG Orchids on home turf against New Zealand Kiwi Ferns when they held scoreless for the second match of the Pacific Championship. Orchids head coach Tani Norris remains positive despite the scoreboard and the online trolls targeting the players. She conceded none of those will affect the team as they prepare for the promotion-relegation match this weekend.
They come back towards the left.
Having failed to register a point in the last two international outings against Australia and New Zealand, PNG Orchids head coach Tani Norris was asked at the post-match press conference yesterday what she could do to improve her side's performance ahead of the 2026 Rugby League World Cup, which is 12 months away. Orchids coach conceded there is so much work to do to be better and competitive against top teams like Australia and New Zealand. She said having to go up against teams that are made up of NRLW players was always hard for the Orchids. Norris said it is good to play against top teams. She said this gives her side a clear indication of what they need to work on and improve. Norris said her Orchids are a young side. She commended players making their way through the newly introduced Santos Cup competition. The Orchids coach added that the Santos Cup is a good pathway program and will help the national team. The Orchids will be playing the winner of the Pacific Bowl Championship, Fetu Samoa, on Sunday, November 10th in Sydney in the promotion relegation match. Rex Litter, TV1 Sports.
Hikari United proved too strong for first-timers Gulf Comara FC in the Premier Soccer League Grand Final on Saturday at the PNG Football Stadium in Port Moresby. Hikari United claimed a 2-1 victory in a close contest. Hikari again proved they are a benchmark team in the country. Comara FC's relentless efforts to reach the Grand Final is a milestone.
It took the Gulf Comara Football Club 6 years to make the maiden grand final, and they didn't look like debutants on the big stage. They took the pitch with intent to win and were ready to upset the defending champions Hikari United. The 2-1 scoreline at full-time reflected Comara Football Club's brilliance in football, standing up to a tough challenge against a formidable team like Hikari. Both teams showed promise on the pitch. Jerry Allen's Hikari United fielded two Brazilian imports, Eric Joe and Lucas Sousa in their team, and a wealth of big-game experienced players. It was a fitting welcome to Coach Allen, who took over the role from David Muta. Coach Allen had previously coached Hikari United to consecutive national championship titles in 2007 and 2008. During those years, Allen led the Red Army to their first ever OFC Club Championship and gave the club popularity in the region. It was a great time for the club to play in the finals, players and fans, as the 2024 Premier Soccer League Grand Final ended with presentation. The Comara Football Club may have missed out on the cup title, but given the way they play in the final, they are expected to come back stronger next season. Meanwhile, in the third place in playoff earlier, Ley City FC proved too strong for the Port Moresby Strikers, 3 points to 2 to finish third. Rex Litter, TV1 Sports.
The Pacific Championship final is set for November 10th as teams assemble their toughest early into the week. The 2024 Pacific Championships men's and women's tournaments have hyped up its players for the big showdown this weekend in Australia. The PNG Kumuls, after reclaiming the Pacific Bowl, will beef up their performance to face a tough New Zealand Kiwis side. Returning to lead the Kumuls is Rhys Martin after missing out on the match against the Cook Islands. Martin returns to captain the side after missing last week's game for personal reasons. Dan Russell goes back to 18th man and Moria drops to the reserves. Liam Horn has been named to start at hooker but could swap with Judah Rimbu as he did last weekend. The New South Wales government says having Sydney on the host city roster for international marathon races will be a tourism bonanza. Sydney will join New York, Boston, Chicago, London, Berlin and Tokyo in March next year as one of the marathon majors.
It's seventh heaven for Sydney, joining Rare Air as one of the next major marathons. The World Major Marathon program already features 3 events in the United States, another race in the United Kingdom, one in Germany and one in Japan. But this is the very first to take place in the Southern Hemisphere, and it will do so in August 2025. It comes after a concerted lobbying effort from both race directors and leadership of the Sydney Marathon, as well as the New South Wales government, who believe the advent of runners, not just locally but also internationally, will be a major economic boon.
The economic impact on the city is fantastic, $300 million over a decade, but you can just imagine the number of people that see Sydney on television or attend the city as a spectator or a participant who want to bring their family and friends in the years ahead. I think the multiplier on that is much, much bigger, and we'll be able to see the tourism benefits of being one of the majors in the years ahead.
As major status has been conferred onto Sydney, some things about the race will change. Among them, how to actually enter the race. Already 25,000 people ran in this year's Sydney Marathon, a record number across Australia. Next year, they're expecting more runners, about 35,000. Typically, it was first come, first serve. However, now we're expecting to see a different form take place. That's in part to the sheer demand that competition organisers are expecting. Essentially, most amateur runners will have to enter a ballot where people will be randomly selected as to whether or not they're able to race. There will be some spots marked for elite runners who compete in the major marathons for championship glory, as well as other places allocated to those raising funds for charity, as well as tourism companies built entirely around running. Simon Bryan from the Sydney Marathon says all of this shows just how significant an event the Sydney Marathon will become now that it's achieved majors status.
For the running community of Australia and obviously Sydney, it's massive. I mean, the World Majors is the pinnacle of running, as I mentioned before, so to see Sydney become part of that global stage is incredible. So we will see an uplift in running. The boom of running will continue, no doubt, and we hope to jump on the back of that as well.
The success and explosion of popularity of not just marathon running coincides with a marked shift in the type of people running. There are now a lot more young people participating in the sport, according to those familiar with the data, particularly Generation Z, or Zoomers, who have become part of running clubs right across Australia, from big cities to small towns. These prolific clubs are in part credited with growing the sport, and indeed the knock-on effects are felt at the most significant events, such as the Sydney Marathon.
And that's all we have for sports. Now the weather forecast for the main centres for the next 24 hours. Southern region, Port Moresby, partly cloudy with inland showers and possible thunderstorms. Daru, cloudy with some rain showers at times. Kerma, partly cloudy with inland showers and possible thunderstorms. Momase, Ley, partly cloudy. Medang, partly cloudy. Vanimo, cloudy periods with some rain and rain showers and possible thunderstorms. New Guinea Islands, Lorengau, cloudy periods with few rain and rain showers at times. Kavieng, partly cloudy. Kokopo and Rabaul, partly cloudy with some possible rain and rain showers and thunderstorms. Buka, partly cloudy with few afternoon rain and rain showers and possible thunderstorms. Highlands, Goroka, Barnes and Kundiawa, afternoon and evening rain showers and possible thunderstorms. Mendi, Tari and Wabe, cloudy with afternoon and evening rain showers and thunderstorms. Ocean forecast for PNG areas for the next 24 hours. Coral Sea, seas moderate to rough with southeast winds of 20 to 33 knots. Solomon Sea, seas slight with southeast to southwest winds of 5 to 15 knots. Bismarck Sea, seas smooth with northeast to southeast winds of 5 to 10 knots. Pacific Ocean, seas smooth with southwest to southerly winds of 5 to 10 knots. And coastal waters forecast, waters of southern and PNG Indonesian border to Daru, to Kiwai Islands to Kerma to Yule Island, to Hood Point to Samare Islands. Seas 1 to 2.5 meters, rising to 3 meters along warning areas. Waters of Samare Island to Cape Vogel and all Millen Bay Islands, seas 1 to 2 meters. And waters of Finchafen through Vitius Strait to Siasi and Long Island, seas 1 to 1.5 meters. And that wraps up another edition of TV1 News. Thanks for your company. Have a pleasant evening. Bye for now.
The TV1 News was proudly brought to you by BSP, our bank.